Okay. So spreadsheets, oh, the dev preview stuff, man, I have been totally hands off on that. I was like gone all day yesterday.
Um, well, most of it is pretty
Let me get
self-explanatory.
my Nexus 6 so I can at least like have something to use.
Did you update it? Oh, he's gone.
Yeah, I did.
We should maybe talk about the voice control or the voice access thing. Is that on here? I
The
don't think
voice
so.
access thing. I don't remember seeing a voice access thing.
It is one of the top posts from the last 7 days.
Well, let's find it.
Just scroll down to the way bottom of the site. It's number 2 in what's hot last 7 days.
When you say scroll down to the bottom of the site,
So my
oh, there it is.
Windows install module is using all my CPU on my laptop right now, and I'm pretty sure it'll cause problems with recording if I don't let it finish what it's doing. I don't know, it's probably installing Windows updates. Because it's Windows 10, and why would Windows 10 ever fucking tell you when it's doing something? Windows 10. Never, like, the lack of dialogue in Windows 10 grates on
Yeah.
me regularly. You know what's grates on me? The new folder design.
you do not like?
I don't like it at all. I feel like I am looking into a sphincter of apps. It is a tiny, obnoxious window. Just give me my baby icons back. I just want the baby icons.
Well, they were stacked. They were stacked
Yes, the
icons.
stacked. I will take the stack. I don't want the window into the app anus.
Oh, did I not do any of this yet? Oh, well.
Okay, come on, Windows. Give me a break here. Let's see if it's in settings. If it's saying it's doing it.
An app sphincter.
Yep, preparing to install updates. Oh, Windows malicious software removal tool, because obviously that's going to take like 10 minutes to do. Jesus.
Hey, babe!
Okay, I'm going to wait for this to finish because I'm pretty sure it'll like cause havoc with the recording if I do it while it's updating. It's only one update. Should take a minute or two, I hope.
Yes.
I was hoping it would be light enough this week for me to finally do the show without artificial lighting, but no, pushing it.
It looks pretty dark in there.
Yeah.
I would suggest if you want a lighting solution, Cowboy Studios sells an umbrella kit for like $50 on Amazon. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I have several lighting things there, but I don't know. I don't like to have to set them up every week, so I keep a little one behind my monitor so I can like flip it on when I really need to. But it's
Yeah.
like it's not bright enough for like pitch black.
I just keep my umbrella stands open at all times.
I see.
Because it looks like I'm running either a pornography or some kind of illicit trade operation in my office. Almost done. The malicious software removal tool is no longer scanning the malicious software removal tool update.
Oh, good. I mean, really, if you were gonna exploit some computers, delivering it via the malicious software removal tool would probably be a good way to do it.
That's exactly what they'd want you to think. Oh, this beer I got isn't that great. Tastes old.
Maybe it's supposed to taste like that.
Yeah, it's from Bevmo. It's probably been sitting there forever. All right, we are recording, and I will social us, and then we will be good to.
Do we have a pre-roll this week?
Oh, that's a really good question. Oh, man, if I was a responsible show host, I would have looked at that well in advance. You know, it's lucky the live show doesn't have too many viewers. So we will take a look here. I don't We might. We
I
do.
don't.
We do. Okay, we do. So I will. Oh man, I wanted to record a new spot for Lineout. It's been so busy this week. All right, it's fine. We're good. So I will do the pre-roll, and I will stop the recording and start again because I've just babbled my way through a bunch of nothingness. All right. This week's Android Police podcast is brought to you by Linode. Check them out at linode.com/Android Police and get a free $20 no strings attached service credit to try out the web hosting service.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, April 14th, 2016. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm incompetent.
I'm Ryan Whitwam.
David's incompetent.
David didn't come.
So we're only doing one name this week? Is that what's happening?
That's it. It's Ryan and Matt.
Oh,
And-
and I'm Mark. I
And
suppose
two
I should
ghostly voices.
say. Still Mark though. Still Mark.
Well, I was prepared enough to put Developer Preview 2 on my Nexus 6 before the show, so
Well, there's something for you.
there's something.
And that's good because we have a lot of Developer Preview 2 tidbits to go over. So I don't know if anybody other than David, I'm assuming you probably all have it running on something?
Yes, I do.
I have it running on my Nexus 9, which I left at work, so I don't have any visual representation
Well,
here.
Matt, that's so helpful for us.
It is. It's very helpful. It's my incompetence to rival yours.
It is National Incompetence Week.
All right, so starting off with the clear all button in the recent app list. In fact, I'm going to just go out and say that this was actually one of my least favorite things about stock Android is that it didn't have that.
Can I ask you why you want it?
Because I like my recent apps to be clear, or not clear. I'm sorry. I like it to be a small number.
So it's just like an aesthetic thing.
No,
for you.
it's so if I've loaded 30 apps in the last 24 hours and I hit my recent apps button and it's showing me 30 apps, that isn't helpful to
Okay,
me.
but you can only see like 3 of them.
No, I mean yes, but I can see like that deck stacked up
Right.
behind it. It bugs me.
I get what you mean.
I prefer my recent apps to be a representation of the apps that I have actually used recently, like within this particular screen-on session.
Yeah, my wife feels the same way. I nag her about it all the time, constantly being like, why are you clearing all your apps out? She feels the same way. I think it's more of a cognitive load thing, and I can totally appreciate that. It's not a problem for me. I know and understand and appreciate the negative aspects to clearing your apps out. I think what would be a happy oh, Liam's not here. We can't argue about it. But I think what would be a happy medium would be just not showing quite so many apps. I don't necessarily think it has to be screen on.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think the way it used to be, where it was just like, yo, here's the apps that have been on this device, not constantly synced and not all this. Like, I appreciate what they're trying to do. It's just I would tend to agree at this point. I think clearing all apps is a bad idea. I don't think that putting that button in there is the right solution. But I can certainly see that some folks don't like having a giant deck of cards.
You know, it's kind of like it's like Google's like, fine, we'll add this button, but we're gonna troll you, and it's at the way top.
that's
So you have to scroll through
exactly
every
this.
single app before you can actually.
Oh,
No,
do
this
you
is
really?
like so somebody running like a project manager is like, okay, guys, we've looked at the use statistics, and everybody with a Galaxy phone is clearing all their apps all the time. This is clearly a desirable end user feature that we must implement. And some engineers, all right, screw you. I'm going to go ahead and put it at the end of the recent apps list. If they want it, they can scroll all the way through. Losers.
I mean, that sounds about right.
It really does. The implementation is openly passive aggressive. Like
Yeah.
it's obviously meant to be difficult to get to.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this goes away. This might just be like a for developers kind of thing. Like they're just like putting it in the dev preview. Like, okay, if you need to clear apps for some reason while you're testing things, because technically this is supposed to.
But if Google takes it away, people will scream bloody murder.
It's like they did when they took out the night mode in M.
Oh my god, but much worse even, because you know what, this feature it appeases the kind of obsessive just cleanly, nature in people. You clear all apps not because you think it has any true benefit to device performance. Maybe you do think that, but maybe you don't have any rational basis for that belief. It's just in your head. It's just that nice feeling of clean, and I feel like that appeals to a much more a primal level of people's personalities and their consciousness. I think taking it away could be very aggravating. I won't. Well, I probably will use it just because I understand the feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think it does anything good. I just want to press it.
I don't.
It very clearly doesn't.
I don't.
I think we can agree.
I don't think I will ever use it. The only time I ever bother clearing apps is when there's like something broken and I need to like restart an app.
Same.
So I don't know. They could take it out in the next preview for all I care, and I think they should because take that, everybody else.
Yeah.
Oh man, people will be so upset if they do remove it. Granted, you know what? I would say, all right, if I were such a huge troll, I might say that, iOS can keep a complete list of all the apps you've used, and it doesn't need a clear all button to improve device performance, at least even perceptively.
If you were to be a troll, that's what you would say.
If I were to be a troll, I might say those words in that order.
And David's definitely not a troll, not ever.
No.
I don't know what it is, but like for me, like keeping that list useful is, I don't know, it's important to me. I don't know. There might be an app that's even one that I've opened recently, and it's just I'll open it and I'm like, God, clear that out, and I'll just do that one app because it's just not going to be useful to me. I don't know. I feel like I want the list to be useful.
But yeah, I guess. I mean, you know what? Honestly, all right, I'm going to be that guy. I like the way Apple does it better. I don't like the cards because I want to see the whole screen of where I was at in a thing. The whole it being.
Oh, you don't like that they're covered up?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it.
Really? I don't mind it very much at all.
Because the other thing, it goes by way too damn fast, and it's I don't know. I would honestly.
Now, if your list is short, it doesn't.
That's also true.
Oh, that's true. That is true. I would say, you know what I would be pro for? A maximum of 10 items in the recent apps list.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. I'd be fine with that.
Do you actually remember any more than that? No. Do you need to see more than that? No.
I would like it even better if you could select how many would show.
So I'm thinking my ideal solution would be, I cannot remember for the life of me who did it. It was a couple months ago, but this designer came up with this mock-up for or concept for how folders might work in the context of recents, and it kind of takes a different approach to multitasking or your recents because it's not just about what I just did or did most recently. It's about what tasks you might be setting out to achieve. And he had this concept for the next version of Android that you could grab a few different apps and put them into sort of their own area that would live on a swipe over from the recents list, so that you've got for example, Priceline and Google Maps and Kayak all open because you're looking to go traveling or whatever at some point.
And so those are in their own stack?
Exactly.
So this actually existed in Palm OS?
It did exist in Palm OS.
I'm sorry, not Palm OS, WebOS.
On the Pre and on the Veer and the Pixie, they all had that very same
I think they actually called it stacks or something like that. But yeah, that is a thing, or was a thing.
I think that's brilliant.
Duarte's ears just perked up wherever he was.
Yeah, every time somebody mentions WebOS, his ears burn.
Yeah, I think that would be the ideal solution. But there's other new stuff in the preview too.
Yeah.
There is.
Other new stuff like new launcher folders.
I hate them.
Which David hates. What is your feeling about this? Do you think it looks like
they look like app sphincters? They look like app sphincters, and I can't get over that. I'm sorry. They could not. I mean, maybe if they were actually shaped like a starfish, I would that'd be even closer. But I don't like this design.
Maybe the next beta of Nova Launcher will have an option for a starfish-shaped folder window.
That might actually get me to use Nova Launcher.
Well,
what do you use now?
Yeah, I use Google Now Launcher.
Oh. Okay.
Because at the end of the day, what am I using a smartphone for? To launch some apps. And generally, those apps are among like 12 that I regularly use. And
Yeah.
if they're not in those 12, well, I can swipe over a screen and they're in those like 16. And that's my life.
It's my whole life.
It
I
is.
like getting apps. I like trying new stuff. I almost every time I go from device to device, I have to go through the list of apps that Google asks me if I want to sync, and be like, no, not those 20, because I installed like 20 apps over the last week or so. But I think the new folders are actually kind of nice. I like that you get a good bird's eye view of what's inside the folder without having to do the whatever weird other options they had for stacks.
Yeah,
Like they
you can
yeah.
see up to 4 icons. I mean, they're clipped on the corners, and it look kind of weird. I'm undecided on whether or not I like the overall
So-
look, but I understand
so-
the reasoning at least.
So, David, if it was exactly like this, except it was a square.
He's muted. So
Well,
anything
then
he-
obviously, if I unmuted my microphone, it would be completely different.
I believe that is HTC's
Yes.
style.
I believe so too. Yeah.
It is.
It
Let
is.
me go ahead and look at the. Oh wait, I'm using the wrong launcher because I don't use the Sense launcher because the Sense app drawer is torture. It is.
It is
awful.
bad.
so
it's still
gross.
it's still paginated on the 10, right?
Yes, it is paginated. Is it
Yeah.
paginated or paginated?
I would say
Paginated.
paginated. Wait. How
Oh,
do you pronounce
boy.
how do you pronounce the word page? Say that word to me.
It's page.
So
So it's paginated
No.
because there's
No.
weird grammar stuff
No.
that happens.
There's magical grammar witchcraft.
I am-
It's under the hood, okay?
Yeah.
It's an under the hood
I'm
change.
I'm with Ryan on this one.
Yeah, team paginated.
Paginated. This could be
No.
the great internet war of a word that nobody actually.
It's also a GIF. So
It is GIF.
It is
Everybody
GIF.
knows it's GIF,
It's GIF.
and just don't. Yeah, so I don't actually care that much because I don't actually use app folders.
So I use app. I have 4 folders on my home screen that contain all the things I use, which you guys can see in my What's on my phone. Yay! But what I want to see these folders do is iOS has this really cute little animation when the folder is small, and it swipes internally through all the apps. It just cycles through all of them that are in that particular folder. And what I think would be beautiful for this is just a sort of auto-generated grid. So as if this circle is just looking at this area on this never-ending grid of the icons that are in that folder, and every once in a while, it zips to a different area of the grid just so that you get a good view of what is in that folder. And this has actually gotten me off of using the cover feature in Nova Launcher that makes one app look like it's just the app, but it's actually a folder when you swipe. I've actually swapped that now.
Well, Mark, that video you posted then is completely invalid. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to
I
take it
suppose we
down.
should take it down, huh?
Yeah, I'll just remove it. It's a
Yeah.
wash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't be doing that.
I see. I used to back in the day get really tricky with my launchers. That was when I was using the Nexus One. But after that, when you review a lot of phones, it's hard to care very much about because like maybe one phone, you can force the number of icons on the the home screen. But what's nice about Google Now Launcher is if you restore it, it just puts everything back where it was.
Mhm.
And that to me is like the thing that matters most in my life. The
Yeah,
life of
that's,
switching between phones once a month.
no, that's great when it works, but then sometimes you log into a new phone and it's like, nope, we're just for whatever reason not going to sync your launcher
That is
layout.
true. That
There's
does
no
happen.
force refresh. There's nothing like that.
And you
And
can't.
the same thing happens
and
with
you
the
can't
apps.
you can't manually back up the Now launcher. So like,
Right.
if you use a third-party launcher, at least I think they all have backup features. I mean, I go back and forth between Google Now Launcher and Action Launcher, and I mean one of the things I like about Action Launcher is like I just have a backup of my layout in Dropbox, so when I log into a new phone, I just like download that file and everything's where it's supposed to be.
I don't know. I should probably get back onto the custom launcher thing and download Nova and kind of lay out my home screen in a way that makes more sense. I would be better with higher icon density. I could use on a 5.1 or 5.2 inch screen, I could do like 5x6 and be okay with that.
Yeah, and then you could get rid of your app drawer.
Matt. Oh man, I just had heart palpitations.
Well, we did have a lot of heart palpitations in the chat room this week because the emojis changed too. I really wish Liam were here for this one.
Oh, I haven't looked at the new emoji yet. Do they really suck
I
that
think
bad?
they are the ones they showed are bad. But it looks like now it's not all of them. It's just some emojis because there are still blobs.
Yes.
Yes, the
Correct.
blobs are still there for kind of
Yeah.
the traditional emoticons.
Yeah,
basically.
if you scroll over a couple of pages, you can see. I don't know if you can make that out. Like there are like actual human-shaped emoji now,
Right.
and they are unpleasant looking.
The ones that actually over on the site, Rita has a great side-by-side comparison, so you can actually see. Although all the old ones, I don't really have that big of a problem with this change. I miss a few of these blobs because, and even some of these blobs, like the praise hands, that used to be a blob also, but he's gone now. I'm okay with this change, if only because if you look on the left side, all of the yellow amorphous people standing there, I can't tell what's what. I don't know who's. I don't know. These are all just different nuclear families.
Does it really matter what the emoji actually are? Because like every phone has different emoji. Like you just have to. It's a crapshoot if somebody on the other end is gonna get the same feeling you get from the emoji you choose.
Yeah, and I posted an article. I didn't even get to read the whole thing. I just read like the first half from Evie's blog. That was good. That was really good. I would love to see some sort of a Unicode, something even more standardized. That's the whole point of Unicode, if I'm not mistaken, is that we have something that works around the world. And having different looking emoji, I feel like doesn't help. But if we are going to do that, shouldn't we be able to just change it out at will? Because right now, in order to change the emoji that's on a device, you have to root it.
Yes, it is a system font, so you can't just change it.
Right. I would be perfectly fine if people could just pick whichever ones work best for them, and the ones that are liked the most are the ones that kind of get adopted. But that's me. That's none of my business, though.
You know what I find? So when okay, I'm gonna look this up now because I'm actually curious. Let's see. So emoji. When did emoji first come out? In the late 90s. We are having a serious.
In Japan though.
Yes, but that's what's so great about it. It took. It's always so funny when a trend like this from a country that isn't America, because we're all in the U.S. here, like catches on. Japanese people are already on like they're on ultra advanced emoji. We are on very basic emoji.
But it's Unicode, so don't they technically have all the same emoji that we have?
I'm gonna guess they have a little bit more. I'm gonna guess they have some IDEN network specific emoji.
I mean, look, nobody's denying that the Japanese people have better emoji game than we do, but I think they have to work with the same emoji.
At this point, I think they do. I think that's only been transpired in the last few years, though.
Yeah.
Well, Android is just now getting up to speed, with all of the Unicode characters.
Well, even iOS wasn't up to speed until a few years ago.
Yep.
That was probably a couple years ago, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to say one thing that bothers me about these new emoji. They're still yellow, so these are actually all Simpsons characters.
So, can someone tell me exactly what the situation here is? Ryan, you wrote this article about the fast app switching. So it's just 2 apps now?
Yeah. So in the last step preview, you could just tap the overview button repeatedly, and it would cycle through all of the apps you had in your app list, your recent app list. Now that doesn't work anymore. So it's just double tap to switch between the app you're using and the previous one, and you can do that. You can go back and forth, and it's actually kind of unusual because now that's just the default action anytime you hit the overview button while the recent apps list is open. So if you are using, say, the calculator and you hit the overview button, you scroll through your app list, and then you hit overview again, it will always go to whatever the app you were using before calculator, which is counterintuitive to me, but I guess, it kind of makes sense. Like, why else are you hitting the overview button unless you wanted to change apps? But I think that's going to confuse people.
Yeah, I think so too. I understand what they're saying. I mean, I think it makes sort of sense that you hit the multitasking button and then you can hit the home button to go home.
Yeah, I mean that
Which
might
I
just. I
think is
mean, this also
that's
might just be a bug because dev preview. Who knows?
sure. But I think that's a decent. I mean, that's a decent assumption to make. That double tapping the multitasking button will just switch between the two. It's just like hitting.
Yeah, I mean
tab.
the double tap does make perfect sense to me, but the fact that you can scroll around and then hit overview again and it does the same
Right.
thing as if you just double tapped, that's bizarre.
I hope that's a bug. It doesn't seem like it should be a feature.
Yeah, so that's I mean that's unfortunate, I guess, if you were really looking forward to that, like the alt tab sort of thing. I mean, it was a really powerful idea, but probably confusing for people.
Word.
But I mean, well, they took that away, but at least they added back the ability to shoot still photos while you're taking video with the new camera apps. So that's rad. I guess people were really, really missing that. That's not really something that I ever did. Does it actually capture full resolution, or is it like video res?
It's video res.
Yeah,
So
so
that's why I never did that back in the day because like I don't like what am I going to do with that photo?
You would have to, because to do full camera res, you would. Oh God, don't eat.
Yeah,
like my
there
brain.
would have to be some crazy engineering feats to make that work.
So I can tell you just from my personal experience that this is like kind of a big deal for parents.
Yep, capturing the kiddos on video and capturing
also
stills at the same
stills,
time. Yeah.
You know what? I'm surprised like that HTC stopped doing the Zoe stuff they're doing back in the M7 era, because back then you could actually do like the Zoe capture things and you would get a little video and then you could extract like full res photos from it too. And it was
The
neat.
Zoe video editor is a preload on the HTC 10.
But does it actually do that, or is it just the video editing thing that they rebranded Zoe as recently?
Oh, okay. Maybe
I think it's
that.
what Ryan is saying, yeah, because
Never
they backed off of Zoe pretty quickly, and that's unfortunate for me because I thought it was cool.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of cool.
But it was also
okay.
very
Apple came out with Zoe. Like
I know they did.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know how many people are using that. It's hard to tell because features like that, they're a little bit hidden in terms of
that was the problem with Zoe, is like it was totally not clear how you did that stuff.
I also have a really weird hypothesis that one of the reasons that Zoe wasn't a smashing success is because that was around the time that we were just starting to name all these voices, Siri being the first. And I think after Siri, we kind of got used to hearing female names as the names. So we've got Cortana now, and we've got Alexa, and so on and so forth. So I feel that people might have heard Zoe and kind of dismissed it as another Siri.
That's possible, although I think probably the bigger problem is that the M7's camera was butt.
That camera was butt.
The M8's camera was also butt.
Oh, yeah.
Also
and
butt.
the
That
you
was
know what
butt
the
2.0.
M9 too. Frankly,
The
HTC
M9 was a whole new level of butt.
Yeah.
All butts, just all butts all the time. No matter what you
it's
put
It was
the camera
actually
at.
butts
all the way down.
in several times the resolution.
Wow, that's incredible. There was
Several times the butts.
There was a bug also in that camera, wasn't there, on the M9 that just made anything you point the camera at, it would just come out as a butt. It was
Yeah,
not
but the
very
problem was that it was so noisy that sometimes you couldn't even tell it was a butt.
Wow, that's pretty noisy. Damn, that's noisy.
Is this two coconuts or?
Nope, it's a butt yet again, like all the other photos.
Yeah,
Sorry, HTC.
funny. Sorry.
The camera on the 10, I have the 10. I can talk about whatever I want about it now. The camera on the 10 outside is really good, but it's but inside I'm a little less and the laser autofocus is like and that's I'm having concerns. But
okay, well we can we'll get to the 10 later.
We got 10 talk coming later. So so next on the list is the voice access beta, which actually I was just looking this over because I somehow missed this earlier. Apparently, this is like full control via voice commands for your phone.
It is,
Right.
and it
Full
is
control.
actually really, really cool. However, I think I didn't look, but I saw somebody said that they ran out of spots in the beta. So if you haven't done it, I don't think you'll be able to unless you sideload from APK Mirror. But yeah, it's super cool. So you install it, you enable it in accessibility services, and then when you turn it on, every button and interactable element on the phone UI gets a little number next to it. So you can just like, and it's listening all the time. So you just like say to your phone like tap 5, and whatever the little 5 is next to it, it'll tap. You can even say things like long press. You can tell it to scroll. You can say go back. You can say go home. It's really cool. So yeah, I mean, you should definitely, everybody should grab this APK or join the beta if possible and try it because it is super, super impressive.
So it does require you to have visual access to the phone, though, correct?
Yeah, well, for most stuff, I mean, you can still tell it, you can issue like commands that don't have anything to do with like the UI,
Okay.
but I don't know how useful that would be. I think you could probably like, tell it to like play, like play and pause and stuff like that. But this is mainly about being able to manipulate the phone without being able to actually touch the screen. Maybe you're like in the car, but I mean, it's mostly an accessibility thing. So it's for people who either can't touch the screen of their phone well or for long periods of time or something. So I mean, that's like the main angle here. But
Cool.
I mean, even if you were otherwise perfectly able to use your phone, it's still fun.
So the dogs from Up, basically, is what you're talking about. The dogs who can speak English but don't have thumbs.
Yeah.
Perfect. They could use Android now.
Android for dogs. This is probably slightly belittling to people with accessibility issues.
Oh,
It's a very important step for people with accessibility issues and smartphones, and it's very cool that you can actually control the phone this way now.
That's probably true. Sorry for people with no thumbs. My bad. David's face for the listeners, by the way.
It's a mixture of disappointment and indigestion.
Okay, let's move quickly to the next topic and pretend that never happened.
So yes, so live cases have been officially announced for the Nexus 6, 5X, and 6P. This is, of course, something we saw a while back in, I don't know if it was, it was leaked as Google Workshop, where you could do map cases for your Nexus device or custom photo cases.
Like 2 years ago, we had that.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, and now it just now came out, but Workshop is in the package name for the associated app. But yeah, so you can make cases for the Nexus 6, 5X, and 6P, either a stylized map of wherever you want, or a photo, and they look really cool. They are expensive though, $35 each, which for a case is a lot of money.
That's crazy.
I mean, all of Google's cases are pretty expensive. They're like, if you buy a case from the Google store, it's probably gonna be $20 or $30. I am trying to convince myself not to buy like 5 of these because they look really good. The map cases especially look so rad.
Yeah. You can just put anything you want on it. Like I spent like 15 minutes today doing the maps thing.
Yeah. The photos is cool too. Like if you just have like a cool background image, like you can just like throw that on a case. And then,
totally.
So I might be crazy, but I don't understand the maps thing.
Well, I mean, they don't. I mean, when you add like the filters and effects and stuff, they don't look immediately like maps. They just look like weird designs. Like lots of like colors splashed everywhere. But you know what it is. It's a map. And like if somebody was like, hey, that's a cool case, you'd be like, oh, it's actually a map of where I live. See?
Right. It's an abstract representation of a location that you're emotionally attached to, and I love that idea.
Maybe if I could just convert it to like low poly or something, I'd like it.
You can get like really artsy with it.
They have a lot of filters like in different like effects you can apply like on top of the map. It's very cool.
Yeah, it's really, really neat. I think this is genius, and this is exactly what I want to start seeing more of from OEMs. Like, if you put out something like this, like HTC's got the IceView case out right now with the 10. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. You don't necessarily need to start making pseudo-modular devices to offer cool accessories for your phone and stuff like this. I mean, I'm so down, and even more so down because there's a shortcut button on the back too.
Oh yeah, it's like a little NFC button, so you can like tie it to like your camera or whatever app or whatever you want. And then there's also this live wallpaper thing, and that's like the app controls this. It's My Live Case. I think that's also where you set the button thing. But so if you do the photo case, like the default functionality is that you get like a live background that's a slideshow, and if you do the map case, then your live background just turns wherever your current location is. It like uses a map image of that and applies this filter that you have on the case. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is dope.
For the price, I'm like, this is like, I would never order a $35 phone case, but that's because I review phones and ordering phone cases seems dumb. But if I were to look at this as an ordinary consumer, all right, this is pretty awesome. I don't like to admit that it's awesome, but it is.
Like, pretend that like your only phone is an Nexus 6P and you've been looking for a case and you think, oh man, all these cases are ugly, because let's face it, most cases are ugly.
It's so nice.
Like, hey.
It's so pretty. I just did the map for where I live, and it's like, okay, this is an awesome case. The dots view, I think, is the best one.
I kind of like the like that wave pattern thing. I forget what they.
I think they all work really well in different color schemes too. So the dot one might work. I like the dot one with the red color scheme, and I forget which other one was really nice with red. But they give you like 20 options, 15 options of colors.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, you combine them with the textures, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12, 6. So you have like 72 total options.
Wow.
Yeah, I feel like I'm probably going to order at least one of these, because I really want to see what they look like in real life, like how like good the printing is.
Yeah, this is one of those things that I feel like Apple is actually going to copy, because it's a good idea.
Definitely. Holy crap. Apple loves things like this.
This is a money printing factory.
Yep.
Yeah, and especially because like Apple, they change the design every 2 years. They've always had a lot of like really good case options. But like, Android, there's so many different phones and they change all the time. Like Apple was going to be all over this.
Yeah. Cool stuff.
Okay, well, last little bit of Google news. We are hearing that the Google Play Music podcast functionality is coming on April 18th. So, April 18th, you will have a new way to download our show.
I think that's cool.
Well, actually, are we going to be available on there at launch, or does anybody know?
We submitted the show.
We submitted on the first day you could, which was, I'm pretty sure, 5 or 10 years ago now.
Yes,
roughly. Yes, give or take. I believe. Well, let's see. Who was still alive at that point? Never mind. This joke's getting grim.
Wow. I mean, it has been a rough 2016. So, but I mean, this is fine. This is fine. I mean, it's good. It's a good thing. They should definitely have it there. I mean, it brings them closer to parity with Apple's offering.
Yes, this is Professor Farnsworth good news.
I seem to recall, I don't remember if it was March or February, but I seem to recall that Bill Simmons was predicting that it was going to be out later that month.
Bill Simmons turned out was wrong.
Turned out Bill Simmons was wrong. I'm pretty sure that's happened before.
Yeah, this supposedly this comes from NPR, which was not supposed to say anything about this, but they're like, whatever, we'll do it anyway.
I love NPR for that, and just because I love NPR.
I love NPR too, and it's especially funny considering what they've been going through lately, because they aren't promoting NPR One, their app. They're instead promoting, like, they won't promote it anyway on the airwaves at least. So it's hysterical to me that NPR broke news that Google Play Music is getting podcasts soon. That's so funny.
That's fun. All right, so it is time. Matt, that's where you come in.
Oh, I was waiting for you to finish your sentence. It's time to pay the bills. No, it's time for a word from our sponsor.
It is. That is true. And I'm going to go ahead and provide a word from our sponsor as soon as I shift my microphone in the correct direction. I'm just going to go ahead and do that right now. Just gonna. All right. Have you ever wondered who hosts AndroidPolice.com? No? Well, I'm about to tell you anyways because of this week's podcast sponsor, Linode. And Android Police has been hosted on Linode for over 5 years now, and we've been very happy with them. And that really is a big part of why they're this week's podcast sponsor, because we can recommend them wholeheartedly. For being a listener to the Android Police podcast, you can get a $20 Linode service credit if you go to linode.com/AndroidPolice. That is L-I-N as in no, O-D as in dog, E.com/AndroidPolice. And that $20 credit isn't a credit you can't use. That gets you 2 months of service on Linode's base tier, which costs $10 a month. Everything's billed hourly, but if you price it out per month, it's $10 per month for that basic tier. And that gets you a gigabyte of RAM, a CPU core, 24 gigs of SSD storage, 2 terabytes of transfer capacity, 40 gigabits per second in connection on the network, and 125 megabits per second out, all for just $10 a month. Linode offers a variety of plans that scale all the way from 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 CPU core to 96 gigabytes of RAM and 20 CPU cores. So they have something there for everybody, depending on your server needs. Linode has state-of-the-art servers. They've recently switched from Zen to KVM virtualization, which provided Unix benchmark increases of over 300% for virtual server performance. So they are fast. And that native SSD storage, coupled with a 40 gigabit network and processors, which are the new Intel E5 Xeon processors, which are very fast, offer you cutting-edge servers for not really all that high of a price. You get 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support, even on holidays. There's a 7-day money-back guarantee for any service, and you can get a server running in under a minute. There are add-on services available for backups, node balancers, and Longview. Everything there to really meet your needs for a server. And like I said, if you head to linode.com/AndroidPolice and sign up today, you'll get that $20 credit. You can check out what Linode's all about. I mean, they host Android Police, and we like them. So what have we got to lose?
What? Indeed. All right, we're going to move on to the hot sheet, where, of course, the big announcement this week was the new HTC 10, which was announced this week. The world's first dual OIS cameras. So that's apparently the headliner. And, yeah.
I haven't used the front-facing camera yet, so I'm not sure.
Come on, you're a selfie junkie, I know.
Yeah, are you not big on Snapchat, dude?
I'm just not. I know. It's so surprising, right?
I'm floored.
Yeah. So I have an HTC 10, and I can tell you anything you want about it, but it's probably not going to be super efficient for me to do that.
Wait, I have a question. So the chamfer, is it like okay in real life?
It's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
It's actually surprisingly good.
Yeah.
Like it's not sharp at all.
No.
It's very soft. It's comfy.
It's comfy.
I think they played it smart with the chamfer. I think they knew. I mean, if you hold it, David, like on the back, and I said this in the quick impressions video we did, it's curved pretty severely. Like it's definitely got a serious radius to it. So that I think is severe enough that the chamfer. That I imagine someone did the math and they were like, oh yeah, that's not severe enough of an angle. It looks really, really striking, and I think that's what they wanted. It's very distinct, but it doesn't feel. I was really scared it was going to feel sharp in the hand, and it doesn't.
Yeah. It seems like they realized if they're going to do another phone with like the antenna lines on the back, it can't look like the A9, which is just an iPhone essentially. Like the chamfer at least makes it look not like an iPhone.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That much I do agree with. And on the front, I mean, it only looks like an iPhone as much as anything can look like an iPhone. It is what it is. So, I mean, the design is striking enough. I actually saw a picture of the dark gray, the gunmetal version that Michael Fisher posted on Twitter a few minutes ago. And it's much harder to notice the chamfer on that one. Like, it is almost invisible, at least in the photo he showed. I kind of like that look as opposed to the silver one. I don't dislike the silver one. I think it looks pretty good. To me, it's kind of like they took the M7 and then they put in a Tron machine, and that's what came out. I like it. Like, I think it's distinct without looking hacked together, which I think is always the danger when you do something that's kind of a new look.
Yeah, I think. And I think anyone who's saying it's like HTC has come a long way, and they're like really reinvented them. Like, no, they didn't. They went back to their roots, is what they did. HTC has had, I think, but a really good career in terms of hardware. I think that they've made some of the best hardware that I've ever held.
I loved the 1X so hard. I don't know why even. I just did.
I think there are still a lot of M7 fanboys, and then the M8 and the M9 were both kind of meh. I think just from I haven't touched the phone yet, but from appearances, this looks like much more of a successor to the M7 than either of those
I
phones.
agree, definitely.
Absolutely.
They're definitely playing to that, and they're also losing that weirdo square camera module, which never looked good.
Also seemed weirdly prone to cracking. I saw a ton of photos of cracked camera glass on the M7 or M9.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, this one sticks out basically as far still, so it's still exposed. But what else I like? They definitely the sharpness of the aluminum surround when you come up against the glass on the front, it's very soft. Whereas on the M9, it kind of rose above the glass and was quite sharp. I always found that annoying.
The thing is, like, even if this phone is good, especially if it's like the best phone HTC's made in years, but like, how does that? I mean, who's gonna buy this over the Galaxy S7? Like, what is its selling point?
Its selling point is just being an underdog. I mean, that really is kind of what it comes down to for them, especially at the same price. And I think they're crazy to price it at the same level as the S7. I think that's
HTC's always had really expensive phones. Like they were selling the M9 for $650 until like a week ago.
Yeah, and the A9 was $500, which was lunacy.
Yeah.
The A9 was
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Can you still buy that phone for $500 to get you?
You can't. You can actually buy it from $800 from Sprint.
Oh, Sprint's pricing was always insane. That made no.
Made $750, but it's still completely insane.
$800.
Oh no! Wait, the A9 is on sale for $429.
Oh boy, that's almost as much as they put it on sale for when you first bought it.
And the M9 is only $500 now.
Oh boy, that's like at least like it's only like 30% worse than a Nexus 6P. What have you got to lose?
And okay, HTC. What, they will still sell you the M8 for $400?
Oh boy. Well, they've got to get rid of them somehow. I mean,
well, like give them away. Don't. That's just embarrassing to try to sell them.
Drop them on some country that needs them. I guess I don't know. Like do anything.
The charity. It's not working.
No, dude. You know what? If HTC really wanted to, they could do some awesome work. I think I want to say it's Verizon that has a nonprofit called Hopeline that you can donate your old devices to, and they place them in homes that are in need, women, children, etc. If a brand started doing that, they'd gain a lot of goodwill.
Okay, we are talking about the company who, and this is in one of HTC's darker hours, who took pink M9s and rebranded them for the breast cancer, Susan G. Komen breast cancer awareness.
And they weren't actually giving money to charity, though. They were just selling them because they were pink and breast cancer.
So they tried to do a Project Red, but failed miserably, is what you're telling me?
But hot pink, basically. It was bad. So, the 10. So, I mean, what does it come down to with the 10 versus the S7? Because if you're looking at the G5, I can't take you out of that mindset.
Yeah, people who want the G5 are very into the removable battery. That's that phone's selling point. I can definitely see people wanting to get that over the Galaxy S7 because they're really concerned about having a removable battery.
So the navigation keys being closer to the port versus the screen, I don't like that. I just don't like it at all. It's annoying. It makes it hard to figure out. Also, Samsung has ruined me on capacitive keys because they're backward, and now they're not backward, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting confused. I'll get used to it. That's just me. But the screen is probably my biggest gripe at this point. The screen has basically color cast it off angles. And it's very noticeable. So the screen goes pinkish purple at offcast, and you can just tell it's not a great LCD panel, which has been trademark HTC for the last 3 years. So I think that is a weak point for them, definitely. The screen just doesn't touch a Super AMOLED, and it's not as good as the G5s because it doesn't get as bright outdoors. They've also got some weird polarization going on with it. You get kind of this glinty effect on the screen at certain angles. So the screen is probably the overall hardware weakest point on this phone. The other
But the camera isn't as bad as the screen, so that's
yeah, the camera is like compared to the M9. I mean, we're talking quantum leap, But
Well,
everybody
sure.
else had already quantum leapt at the time the M9 had
the
came.
M9 was a quantum leap backwards.
Yeah.
By itself.
So the cameras, I haven't, like I said, I haven't tested front one. The rear one seems pretty decent, but at low light, you have that pinkish issue, at least for me so far. Definite pinkness. I've taken multiple photos compared to the S7 and the G5, and yeah, the 10 is pink. So hopefully they can iron. I just got a software update today, so I'm going to have to do some more testing and see how that works. The laser autofocus, definitely slower than Samsung's. So there's that, especially in low light, it hunts.
Yeah, Samsung, by the way, doesn't even have a laser autofocus module. It's
they don't need it because they have
really, really fast.
Yeah, because they have that Canon tech on.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast that phone focuses.
It is stupid dumb fast.
Wait, which one focuses that fast?
The Galaxy S7.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the boom sound speakers. So I want to talk about that because I have been left thoroughly not that impressed.
So there are two of them, but one is in the earpiece and one is on the bottom of the phone, right?
Right. And so if I set them on a desk, like if I set a Galaxy S7 and an HC10 on a desk in front of me, just face up with music playing, the S7 has better clarity on highs, for sure, just no doubt there, and better volume on the highs. Now, if I put it in my hands and do the cupping thing, they're pretty much equal on volume, and the 10 has better mid-range. You don't have any bass. There's no bass in a speaker this size. Like, it doesn't work. But at the S7, and at that point, it's a matter of character. So I honestly, the only situation where the 10 speakers are really better, you're holding in your hand in portrait or landscape, and you're not cupping the bottom speaker of if you were holding the S7. This is getting confusing, but just kind of bear with me here.
We're with you. I'm following.
Yeah, so if you're cupping the speaker on the S7 and the 10, I honestly think that the S7 sounds basically just as good. If you're not cupping the speaker, the 10's going to sound better because it has a speaker facing you, whereas the S7 doesn't. So I think that, if it's a situation where you're putting your phone down on a table or another flat place and you just want to play music while you're doing something or something, the S7's actually better because the clarity and the highs are more pronounced. The 10 is a little more muddled that way. It has better probably balance, but not necessarily. It's not going to be as easy to hear necessarily in that context. So I think the boom sound speakers are at best they provide a situational benefit in this phone. At worst, they're just not that much better than anything else anybody's doing. The dual front-facing speakers is what they needed, and they didn't have that. And the boom sound modes or whatever, it's just different EQ. And I haven't tested the headphone jack yet, so.
It's supposed to have some crazy. Does it have like a special DAC in it or something, or what?
That's a headphone amplifier.
Okay,
so
yeah.
It's using probably Qualcomm's digital to analog basically conversion, but the headphone amplifier is said to be significantly more powerful. I haven't tested it yet. I have relatively high impedance headphones, but I don't have I live in the 1980s high impedance headphones, so it's hard for me to sometimes tell the difference that way. But it could be beneficial if you actually have crazy high impedance headphones that you use with your smartphone, which seems weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might benefit you, sure. But again, minimal benefit overall because basically HTC kind of co-brands that with the boom sound mode, which is just EQ and DSP, and that's mixing apples and oranges. The amp and the EQ stuff, it's not related. They're totally different things. So, but overall, and I'm kind of veering off there, I think this is a very good phone. I like it better than the G5. Aside from the screen, I think the screen's worse than the G5's. Almost everything else, though, seems substantially better. So I actually think HTC this year made a much more serious competitor to the Galaxy S7 than LG did. I'm not sure if it's better than the S7. I'm going to have to spend some more time with that before I really decide. And battery life, I'm still kind of up in the air about. I'm not sure yet. I need some more time using the phone. So yeah, I want to like this phone, but I need some more time to really tell.
I want to like it too. I'm excited to grab it from you. Hopefully next week I can start using it too because I want to like it. And I honestly I wanted to like the G5 too. I'm curious where exactly the display other than so you said the color cast and the what was the other thing you said, polarization?
Yeah, and then sunlight performance overall is pretty weak.
So I don't think the screen on the G5 is particularly good.
It's not great, but I think G5 at least has the high luminosity mode
Sure.
if you're in direct sunlight and where it's usable. Whereas the 10,
Okay.
And
Okay.
The 10's colors are just as oversaturated, if not more.
Oh, the color on the G5 is probably my biggest gripe with the display. It doesn't feel right in any capacity, and when you come back in from outside,
Okay, so I just discovered the 10 has an sRGB mode.
Oh, really?
Okay, so this changes things. I actually and there's a color temp slider depending on which profile you select. Okay, so I take that back about the colors potentially. I'm gonna have to use it some more, but that's a big deal. So my mistake. I didn't know that. I'm in sRGB. Reds still look a little pinkish hot to me, but they're definitely much better than the stock mode. So my mistake. I will say that there's no way this is as good in sunlight as the G5 though, and the polarization is weird, and the color casting is still there, and the G5 does not have the color casting issue.
Yeah, that much I can tell you. I haven't had a color cast issue with this device at all. Are we what are you guys? Hi.
We're all making you feel awkward. That's this
Hi.
portion of the show. Don't you see it on the spreadsheet, Mark? It's right there. Make Mark feel awkward.
Oh, damn it! It worked. It worked.
Well, I was making you feel especially awkward just because my microphone was muted and I didn't realize it.
Got it.
It's my secret move. But no, I was just saying, if the sunlight performance is an issue for anybody, you can always just move to Ohio.
Yeah, none of it there.
Yeah, we don't have any sunlight, so no need to worry.
Problem solved.
Yep. All right, well, does anybody else have any questions for David about the HTC 10? Otherwise, we will move on to email.
Yeah, let's read some emails.
Emails it is. All right, so our first email includes a picture, so I'm going to throw the picture up on the screen as I read it here. So this particular person whose name I did not record, I'm a jerk. So they are emailing in saying, I purchased a Huawei watch from Huawei's website in December. Overall, I found it quite useful and looks great for a smartwatch, but lately the black metal band is starting to show some serious wear. With as expensive as the band is alone, I expected it to last much longer than this. I called customer service, and they said cosmetic damage isn't covered. I have a desk job, and I'm gentle with the watch. Am I being unrealistic in expecting them to replace the band? If not, is there anything I could do to get them to replace it? I've added a picture of the issue. So
so I'm looking at this and immediately my reaction is screw that, because Huawei. I'm in HTC mode. Huawei advertised like their special carbonizing the black whatever bullshit process when they when we went to look at the watch before it came out. They were all over this like, oh, it's special super hard black coating, it's industrial super strong. Yeah, that this is happening is total BS. Like, I would be properly upset.
I have not heard great things about Huawei's customer service, which I think is probably the issue. If you could get a hold of a human being who has the power to actually do something about it, I'm sure they would. But the question is whether or not you'll be able to find any way to contact that person.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're going to get a new watch band, but it's going to wear in exactly the same way.
Yeah, here's the thing. So, like, that same version, the black one with the black band, is what I had for review. And I was not very impressed with the quality of it. Like, it didn't feel like, I think they want like $180 or something for the band.
Yeah.
And it did not feel like a $180 watch band. Like when I had to take out links so it would fit my tiny wrist, and like it was just like a mess. Like the little the spacers came out weird, and I had to like cobble it back together to keep it from falling apart. It just didn't feel like a quality a quality piece of jewelry, which is basically what it is.
I have the silver band, and I actually took it to a jeweler to have the links removed just because I didn't want to mess with it, and they actually had a really hard time with it too. There's some
Yeah,
truth
that doesn't surprise me. Yeah, Huawei's metal link bands are not good, and I'm
Okay,
sure
yeah.
what happened here is like he said has a desktop. He probably is like sort of typing a lot, and like the bottom is just rubbing very gently.
Yeah. So I would get
Yeah.
basically a mouse pad that's super thin to put on your desk if you want to avoid this if you get a new band, because that's probably the only way to do it.
Or get
Also-
one of those the ones that are like whole desk mouse pads that go over the
Yeah,
whole thing.
definitely. The other thing I would say in terms of general quality of Huawei's watch band, so I have the Huawei watch with the don't call it a Milanese loop. So when I got it, I was very curious about this little part of the loop that like there's a little metal point sticking out of the band in the middle of the band. I was like, huh, is that supposed to be there or something? And so eventually I got annoyed with it because it was on the outside, but when I would like touch my wrist, which I would just do because of the little pokey part, I'd be like, wow, this is really, really, really annoying. And so I got out my needle nose pliers and I pulled on the pokey bit for about a half hour. Well, I pulled and I pulled until this little piece of metal actually came out of the watch band. Like this little piece of stray metal was inside the loop. How does that even happen? It was like something.
I was really hoping that this was going to come out a lot like the song the song Sweater by Weezer.
Oh, the whole thing falls apart. Yeah, I was kind of very fearful about that, but then I realized, oh, I didn't pay any money for this, so I don't care.
Honestly, I can tell you this this is just my smartwatch experience in general is that I have found that if I'm getting a smartwatch and I want to use it for any extended period of time, I'm going to just buy multiple bands for it. Just cheap ones off of Amazon, like $20. And if something happens to them, then who cares? I've never had a watch band that was black that didn't do what this picture shows. Everyone I've ever had has done that. So I don't put a lot of faith in watch bands in general. Just like I bought the Huawei watch with the metal link band, and I picked up this.
I have that one as well.
Well, so this isn't the one that came with it.
it's
This
a
is
knockoff.
aftermarket.
Yeah,
This is
looks like. Is that a magnetic one?
It is a magnetic one.
See, that's better than the one they sell that has a little clasp thing.
The clasp actually doesn't bother me too much.
It has no random pieces of metal sticking out of it, and it was like $23, I think, on Amazon.
Yeah, see,
Exactly
I think what our emailer should do, just forget Huawei, whatever. You're gonna waste so much time trying to get them to listen to you. It's just not gonna be worth it to get another band that's gonna do the same thing. If you go on Amazon, just find a band that is actually made for the watch, so it has these slightly narrower lugs, and then it goes out like 2 millimeters. Because if you get one that just fits where the space for the lugs is, then it'll look a little bit too thin. But there are a lot now that are built specifically to look appropriate on the Huawei watch.
This one, I believe, they kind of see what he's talking about with the lugs there.
Yeah.
This one is actually made by, I believe the name of the company is Yesoo, Yesoo, and they have the Milanese loop also in black. So if you wanted to get a replacement,
so do that. Do that. Look for that thing, and just make sure that it flares out a little bit right past the lugs, and then it'll look fine, and hopefully it will not be a piece of junk like the stock band.
The only complaint I had about it when I originally got it, they actually sent it out with a 18 millimeter lug on one side and a 22 millimeter lug on the other. And I'm like, no watch will ever be able to use this.
That's great.
So, but they replaced it. And they were cool
that?
about it. So. I don't know.
Okay, so before we switch sections here, so the home screen thing, guys, we love the listener participation. You don't use the podcast, you listen to it. We love the participation we're getting from this. So the thing is, basically, we got like a lot of home screen submissions.
A dozen at least.
Yeah, a week so far. And so the problem is we can't talk about all your home screens. Because the show's going to turn like an hour and a half show.
Yeah.
And B, some of your home screens look pretty samey.
Yeah, look, if your home screen is literally just the Google Now launcher and 4 icons, like you don't probably need to send that to us.
Yeah, like my home screen layout would immediately just be discarded from the consideration.
Yeah, so if your home screen is neat, definitely send us that.
Yeah, so if you do something cool with your home screen, you can send us your home screen if you don't do something neat, and maybe it'll be a slow week, and we'll use it anyway. But what we're going to do is pick a maximum of 2 every week and discuss them. And so this week, we'll call them winners. You don't actually win anything, but this week's winners are Gavin and Ryan.
Gavin and Ryan. So I'm going to pull Gavin's set up here. I'll put it on the screen share here. This is Gavin's.
Yes. So I think he's using the Ryphon icon pack. I recognize that. Did he say which icon pack?
Did he?
Yes, he did. Ryphon icon pack.
Wow, nice headshot, dude.
That's one of the like 3 icon packs that I have ever liked. So I mean, very unlikely that I will ever be able to do that again. But no, they're just like very nice, basic square icons.
I don't like the icon pack.
I don't like the icon.
I hate this icon pack.
I hate it too because my phone is not this square. Why are my icons so square?
I mean, I hate this icon pack because part of the problem when it comes to icon packs is that designers suck a lot, and they don't make great icons that are on their own, for one, and lots of brands' icons are not good iconography or good or a good mark for the brand. A lot of like WhatsApp does not scale well. That as their logo, as their brand mark, doesn't scale well. If you look at the Hangouts one, that one actually scales fine because they got rid of the actual word bubble. In reality, those 2 quotes should be the Hangouts icon or logo anyway. It's just, God, that WhatsApp icon just, I can't with it. Get it away.
Yeah, some of them are not good, but for the apps that when I use this icon pack, like I use a lot of the generic ones. I don't rely on like the specific ones to apps.
So what I see here is an almost Freudian subconscious desire to have the unity of an iOS icon set.
Yeah.
But it can't look the same. I can't let anybody know I want iOS on my phone.
Right.
But I still want my icons to be all samey with each other.
Well, I don't want them to be samey. I just want them to be consistent, and that is never that is never less true than when you scroll to the next page and see what the IKEA icon looks like.
Yeah, that is bad.
And also, why is
talking
IKEA
about
on your home screen?
Yeah, that's maybe, I don't know, maybe he works at IKEA. I know. Okay, so like we were talking about this before the show, actually, like the situation with icon packs where you're not going to have all of the icons you use.
Yeah.
But I mean, the idea at least is there should be enough generic ones that you can find something that'll work. But IKEA is a weirdly specific thing. Like I don't know what you would really pick to signify that.
I just have no idea. I mean, I think that says a little bit more about IKEA's inability to design something nice, but
their logo is their name, I guess.
I guess so.
So okay, but then he's also got a calendar widget, which I think is today, maybe.
That is no, I don't think that's today. Isn't today not dark anymore?
I think I thought it was an option.
Oh, I don't know. I could be wrong.
Oh well, it's something. He's got a podcast player of some sort. I don't know which one. I don't.
That's Pocket Cast.
Is it Pocket Cast? Okay, I was gonna ask. Is that beautiful widgets that he has on his other screen? The giant clock.
Oh yeah, is it? I think you're right.
I haven't seen
either that
somebody use beautiful widgets in a very long time. I hope it is.
Oh God, I just want please with the clocks. Enough with the clocks.
Okay, but he has his status bar hidden, so
He does.
There's a reason to have the clock. Also, he has no app drawer, so I'm assuming because he's using Nova, he's got some sort of crazy gesture thing.
Yep. He has swipe down for the notification bar, swipe up to access the app drawer.
Just to clear that up, HD widgets, not beautiful widgets, and sunrise calendar.
Sunrise. That's
Sunrise, which is discontinued now, right?
Yeah, I think so. Did they get bought?
Yeah, by Microsoft, and then I
By
think
Microsoft,
Microsoft announced recently that they were going to stop doing that. So I hope he doesn't rely on it very much.
Ugh, that's a bummer. Yeah, they did. In October, they announced they were gonna discontinue it. That's a bummer, dude. Sunrise was awesome for a minute.
for a minute, yeah, and then they got bought, and that was the
Yeah.
end of that. Yeah, so I appreciate this home screen because I actually kind of like that icon pack, and and it's just it's got a different sort of look. So
All right, so how are we rating it?
I gotta give it a 15 squares out of 5. That's too
15
many
squares out of
squares.
5.
Mark, you took my thing.
I was
It's
also
too
going
many
to use-
squares.
damn it!
Yes!
Too many squares.
Got him.
All right, I will. Wait, you did out of 20? That's a very strange choice.
I did 15 out of 5.
Oh, 15 out of that. Okay, so you.
That's an even stranger choice. Just
yeah.
for the record.
I'll give it 4 discontinued calendar apps out of 5.
Oh.
I'm giving this 12 root 3.
Whoa. Too heady for me, man.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, our next home screens came from Ryan, so let's pull that one up here. Not our Ryan, some other Ryan.
Yes, obviously. So did he say what stuff he's using? Oh yes, he has lots of text.
I'm gonna skip the text for now and just take a look.
So I'm gonna say,
Oh.
bro, your calendar widget game is like too hard.
Whoa.
He's got the widget padding like all the way gone. It's like every
Man.
pixel is occupied by stuff.
Oh man, I am getting claustrophobic looking at your home screen here.
And the icons are so tiny and close together. His fingers must be tapered at the end. Is that
What
is
your
that
icons are like sweaty people on the F.
and so what is the this app drawer situation?
So
Is this
this
action
is, he
launcher?
actually, I think.
No,
I have
he said it's Nova, didn't he?
I wouldn't even call it an app drawer. It's an ultra drawer.
I think it's both. He has some duplicate apps here, so I think he sent us what it looks like in both in Action Launcher and now maybe. Oh, SF Launcher. He said he just went back to Nova Launcher. If you look at the titles of the files,
it's SF. Okay, yeah, I'm not familiar with that particular launcher. So.
Me neither, but I gotta say, bro, what's the deal with all of this negative space? Like, you're not using any of this space here at the top. It's all just white. And same thing with your calendar, man. Why? Why?
This,
I'm really
this
glad
home
we figured
screen
this
is
out.
like making me deeply uncomfortable in a very strange way. Like I don't understand why I feel the way I feel about it, but I feel about that way very strongly.
I'm not sure about the red at the top. I don't know why.
That actually bothers
Yeah.
me the least out of all of this stuff. That one actually I think looks fine or whatever, but sheesh, dude. I mean, Google Now is Google Now for a reason. And what you've got here on like, I'm just looking at the Nova Launcher screenshot. You've got duplicated information. You've wasted half of your screen. You have a calendar telling you that there's a Flyers at Red Wings at 8, and then up at the top you have the same exact information.
Yeah, what is what is the widget at the top supposed to be?
I think that's Google Now.
Scores.
It's sports scores, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a Google Now widget that because Google Now will give you your sports scores or sports information. So he's got some sure you've got Pistons, Heat, Tigers, Marlins, but like maybe you don't need the calendar for your sports ball games, man. You can play shooty hoops whenever you want. Like just
Oh my God! This is the first time somebody said sports ball on the podcast, except for me. So good. I feel validated.
I just don't get it, man. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I suppose he could just as easily send me an angry email about
Also,
me
what
watching
is the
people on
point
Twitch.
of a wallpaper with this layout?
I hope he sends us a follow-up email with with an image of the wallpaper, and it's actually got cutouts, white cutouts that are covered with all the widgets.
I actually hope he sends us an email of a home screen that just has a giant middle finger as the
Yeah,
widget.
he's just gonna email like, you guys are mean. He actually has a question in the email, and we haven't addressed it. We've just made.
Oh,
fun
there's a
of it.
question. What's the question?
I would like to point out that he did specifically say, "I have sent you my home screen to insult." So
Oh, okay, cool. So
I
he's
feel like he
ready.
came into this with the right expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should read the question and try to actually answer it.
Do you guys know of any way of getting custom quick settings to go directly to the remote instead of just opening the app?
Oh man,
So-
you lost me at.
Okay. So he
tagged out the smart glass.
he
remote.
used to have a widget for the Xbox Smart Glass remote. He tried to add it back as a quick setting toggle via custom quick settings, but it will only allow me to add a shortcut to the app instead of the widget shortcut. So, yeah, you would basically have to fire the intent directly.
Right.
And there have been launchers that allowed you to do that.
Yeah,
Adobe
I think
does.
the developer would have to also have that that intent exposed.
I'm guessing the intent might still be exposed because I think what he's saying is that the smart glass widget either got discontinued or something. So he's trying to find a way to pop open directly to the remote instead of opening smart glass and then having to navigate to the remote. Anyway, so
Well, no, I think the widget still is available. I think he removed it because he needed more room for calendars.
That was maybe a bad idea if that's true.
Actually, you know what? Then forget it. I'm not going to answer your question, buddy. Just make your widget smaller and put the widget back. Problem solved.
You know, if only there was a compact way to put your calendar on your home screen, so that when you tap the icon, your calendar then appears.
Hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw this out there because I know. So you had the SF launcher with the side drawer, I guess, for your apps. If you did the same thing with Action Launcher, which has the same kind of app launching, you could actually just put a shortcut to the app on your desktop or whatever you want to call it, on your home screen, and then swipe up on it to bring up the widget.
Yes, this is a thing that I do with Action Launcher when I use it. See, I have the slide out app.
Yep, slide out. Yeah, it
It's
seems
very
like
handy.
going from SF Launcher, he used the drawer from SF Launcher. It seems like Action Launcher might just be a better solution for him altogether.
Yeah, and then so you can still have like one page with Action Launcher, and then you can put like widgets and stuff in the slide out. I forget what they call it, like the panel you can slide out from the other side.
Yeah, it's some kind of convenience drawer.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, you could maybe try that. Try the free version of Action Launcher and see if that appeals to you more, maybe.
Takes your fancies.
So, you know, before we wrap up, we had a submission this week for an antique that I think went unnoticed.
What?
That I think was a pretty solid antique.
Oh, I didn't realize we were still getting those.
Yeah, we got an antique. You can send your antiques. We like those too, because those are fun to talk about as well. So
Yeah,
I'm going to screen share it here on my screen since I have it open. The pictures the person sent weren't very good, so I'm going to show you an Amazon picture instead. So what we have here is a Moto Razr V.
What?
Oh.
I don't even.
Yeah.
I don't.
So
I don't know that I remember that.
Okay, so remember when they came out with the Razr on Verizon?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Droid Razr.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the international version of that phone.
But it's so thick.
It's not thin at all.
Was it actually what that phone looked like?
Yeah, so it came out in 2012. And so as you can see, I have GSM Arena open to look at the specs of the phone because I was like, what is this phone? And GSM Arena is a great source for that. And so I will plug them for that. But so this phone came out in 2012. So, you know, this is a couple years in Android's real prominence. This is a forgotten phone.
This is 2012.
I forgot that the Razr, Droid Razr even existed, personally.
Can we just take a moment and appreciate, like thoroughly appreciate that Android doesn't look like this anymore?
You know, apparently Motorola actually forgot this phone exists too, because if you click on their page for it, there's just nothing there. It's not even a 404. It's just like a blank page. Yeah, this is a very. But so wait, so but this has a different body than the Verizon phone, right?
I'm not sure about that.
I mean, it would
Because it looks so thick, and like the thing about the Droid Razr is that it was like stupid thin, right?
Yeah.
For the time, and I mean,
oh, maybe
I'm
maybe
guessing-
this is just a bad angle because I just pulled up.
Yeah, I think it's a bad angle.
Let me.
So I think the camera hump on this was substantial, and that's kind of the
it was gigantic.
yeah. So this phone, I mean, I barely remember. Did this have an AMOLED display? Let me stop screen sharing here and definitely not bring up another source to look at that. No, it was.
Oh no, wait. The Droid Razor had physical buttons, like it had capacitive buttons.
Yeah, so this is something weird.
Yeah.
Wow, you got us.
This had software buttons, and it doesn't say what kind of display. I'm looking at GSM read. It doesn't say what kind of display it had. It's a 540 by 960, so that's a lowercase QHD. Wow, this is a weird. So guess how big the battery is. Just guess.
1,200 milliamp hours.
Oh, that's tiny. That's way too small.
2,000
It's-
milliamp hours.
It's 1750, which
Okay.
to me is still like crazy small,
Oh,
even
yeah,
for a
that's low.
4.3-inch screen phone.
Yeah. That's
yeah,
really cool.
so I really like this antique because honestly I
Yeah,
remember.
I've never heard of this phone, so that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, totally. This is a very good submission.
Who sent us this antique?
This was Benjamin or Ben.
Benjamin.
He
Ben.
goes by Ben.
Ben. That's good job, Ben.
Nicely done,
He sent in his actual screenshot of the phone, which had EA games preloaded on it.
Wow. Weird.
Yeah, so it looks like I'm trying to figure out where he bought the phone based on the box here.
Wait, do you want to just show?
On the
Do you want
back.
to just show us the bad picture anyway, just to see?
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and screen share the picture here. Oh, I can't really do that. Hold on, I'm gonna need to put in a different window.
Just drag it
I
into
have
a tab.
sensitive information. It's not that sensitive at all. But okay, so all right, I've got it up, and I'm going to screen share the thing, which is right here. So we can see the Motorola Razr V is ultra thin, yet incredibly strong. That's because it's made with DuPont Kevlar fiber. It has splash guard protection and a 4.3-inch color boost screen that resists scuffs and scratches too. Smart Actions app optimizes the phone's performance by learning and adapting to your unique needs. There's 1.2 gigahertz dual-core power and a long-lasting battery to surf, play, talk, and watch longer. Plus, a webcam. 8-megapixel camera and 1080. A webcam. I want to know where this phone was sold. It's got to be. I would guess the UK or something.
No, David. No, you finished that sentence. David.
8-megapixel camera and 1080p HD video playback. Dash. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
An exclamation point. So beautiful.
This is good stuff.
That is
bona fide.
Also,
good
it
stuff.
says in the corner that it's business ready.
Ooh.
It is ready for business.
It's very ready for business. It is business time. It's taking off its socks.
No, those stay on for business time, David.
That's true. The socks do stay on for business time.
They do. The best thing about this too for me.
Business.
It's business time. The video playback, the icon for it is the like one of those old school vertically held HD cameras that you could get from like Nikon, and the screen flies out on the side. That's the icon for full 1080p HD video playback.
Oh man, this is good. This is probably the best antique. This may be the best antique we've had because nobody knows what it is, and yet at the same time it is so authentically nostalgic.
It really, really is. I cannot believe this was 2012, man. 2012 seems like so like 2 weeks ago. Wow, we've come a long way.
Good
I
stuff.
just
Hey,
found
so,
some real pictures of it, and it is really horrendous. It's really bad looking.
By the way, this was a Canada release.
Oh, Canada. That would make sense.
It was
too.
launched in Canada on Bell Mobility, Virgin Mobile, and Wind Mobile.
It looks like it also was in. Where's Telstra? Is that an Australia thing? Or is that.
Telstra? I don't know.
I can't
I
remember.
don't know. I'm an American. We know our American carriers.
Australia.
Yeah. So it is a very bizarre phone. So if you have more bizarre phones like that, then please do
This
send
was a good bizarre phone. If you're outside the United States, actually, bizarre phones in general will probably be easy to come by comparatively.
Yeah.
And if anyone can get me a red HTC 10, I'll give you my address.
Oh man, are they doing the 10 in red?
Only in Japan, and only
Oh, that sucks.
and
I
only
want-
in CDMA.
Okay, I also want the 10 in Best Buy Blue, like they did for the M7, or was that the M8? It was one of them. Best Buy had an exclusive blue M7 or M8.
Oh man, I'm still drooling over this Camilla red, the 10. It's like deep red. Like it's.
Yeah,
super
they
nice.
did. I think they did the M8 in red. Let me just go ahead and look. M8 red. Yep, they did. Glamour red. I bet it's the same red.
Mm,
And they released
Nice.
it on Verizon because Verizon.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually launching. I believe it's launching on the Japanese Verizon, which is I think why they're going for that bright red.
Is it Japanese Verizon? Is that Docomo or?
No, it's not Docomo. I think it's KDDI, isn't it?
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yep. All right.
All right. Well, that's going to about do it for the show. If you have, well, I'm going to go ahead and plug the antiques because we had a lot of fun with the antique this week. So if you have any antiques, also home screens, you can email them to us at podcast@androidpolice.com. If you have any questions, you can reach us at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. And we're also available for you on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook.
And thank you again to Linode for sponsoring the Android Police podcast. You can find them at www.linode.com/Android Police. And if you go to that URL, you get a $20 service credit for Linode web hosting. No strings attached. So go ahead and check them out.
Love Linode.
Boom.
All right. Okay. That's it. I've actually got to go, so I'm going to stop the recording here.
Yep. I'm gonna head out
And
as well.
good show, everybody.
Yes.
Good show. Good show. See you guys later.
Later, everybody.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right. I'll see you guys later.
All right, peace out.